Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 17 of the Add a Zero Challenge, where we try and take a $10,000 bankroll, run up to $100,000 streaming live cash games. We're starting today with $3,086 in the bankroll. That's a lot less than $10,000. Not the start we wanted. Frustrating, for sure. But I believe. And I have some exciting hands to show you today. It's an exciting session. So, without further ado, let's get into the action. First hand of the session, we're looking down at pocket threes in the small blind. We get a raise in the cutoff to 20. Now, in theory, I don't think this is actually a profitable call if we're playing against robots. I think it's a three better fold mostly spot. But we decided to call this time. I think we can profitably play the threes here for 20 bucks. And we get a call here in the big blind as well. So we're going to go three ways to flop, 20 apiece with the pocket threes. You could probably guess what's coming on the flop. It made the highlights. We got a 3 on the flop, 3 Jack 10, beautiful flop. We start with a check, and our opponent's going to bet 35 into a pot of about 60. Now, in theory, we really don't do much raising here. The reason being that if we decide to have a raising range, our calling range becomes very, very weak, and we can get absolutely wrecked. So I think most of the time, I like just calling here. But against the right opponents where we want to create a dynamic, we want to create a pot right away, we can just raise and screw the theory. In this situation, I think I like raising, and I hope I raise because bottom set with the Jack 10, there's going to be ace king, there's going to be ace queen, there's going to be king queen, there's going to be queen 9, there's going to be 9-8, there's going to be all sorts of stuff that continues. Every Jack, every 10, they're all going to continue, especially knowing my opponent's in the spot. Seed 8 is regular in the game. So we raise, and we do raise, looks like, not sure how much, 85 maybe, probably more, probably 110. I think it's 110. So we get a call anyways. Let's assume 110. It's about right in terms of sizing. Turn is the king of hearts. Now, theory and practice here, we check raise the flop, turn's a king. What do we want to do in this turn? I think we want to check, actually. In theory, we would check this turn. If we check raise flop, we're going to check this turn almost all the time. This is a much better card for their range than it is for our range that check raise the flop. We're not going to make very many two pairs or straights that check raise the flop. Most of those hands are going to call, whereas they're going to have a lot of straights and two pairs that called or check raise and have just improved on this card. For example, ace queen is a hand they can have here. King jack is a hand they can have here. King 10 is a hand they can have here, and we don't have any of those hands that check raise the flop. So typically, this is a check. And let's think about what the reaction is going to be when we decide to check this turn card because it's a good card for their range. Well, when they have a jack, they're going to check back. But we're only going to get 2 streets of jack from a jack anyways, right? Like, ace jack's only going to call us one more time if they have ace jack. If they have a hand like jack 8 suited, it's only going to call us one more time if it does at all. So we're not really losing anything. They get one free card to try and make 2 pair, but we have a set. So yeah, actually, it doesn't even matter. I guess ace jack gets 4 outs to try and make a straight. So that's fine. But those hands that just made 2 pairs are straight, we would expect them to bet, right? We very much expect them to bet here. So we check. And our opponent checks. You can tell what happens in this hand. River's an 8. Set. We bet 225. They quickly call. We show the set. That's what I figured you had, and they folded. I'm pretty sure they showed king jack. It might have been king 10, but I think it was king jack that they showed. And it's so sad that they checked the turn because that's exactly why they checked the turn, because those hands need to bet, but they don't. Oh, it's so frustrating, man. We really could have got stacks there. If we bet, we got stacks there, but I think most of the time we expect our opponent to bet king jack on the turn. I think we played our hand right. It ended up we got less than we could have, but nonetheless, that's okay. We drag a pretty big pot. We're off to a good start. So we get a raise to 20. We look down at the beautiful king. I decided to make it 65. This is kind of a small 3-bet size, a little bit smaller than normal. Typically, it'd be about 4x out of position. 2 reasons. One, it's very strong out of the big blind to 3-bet in a heads-up pot as well. Like, it's a very strong move. It's going to sort of telegraph the strength of our hand, I think. So I make it 65. Our opponent calls. And guess what? Sometimes things go your way. It doesn't always go against you, chat. And when you see an ace king 7 in a 3-bet pot and you have kings, you can feel pretty good about your life because our opponent's going to have a lot of aces and they're going to pay off a lot of bets. We bet 50 into this pot, which had about 130 in it. They call, so we got about 230 in the middle. Turn is the 6 of diamonds. Relative brick, we bet 140. Putting 400 in the middle. If they call, it'll be 540 in the middle. And they do call. We're going to the river. I remember they have less than a pot size bet left, so we've sort of sized this appropriately to where we haven't scared them away, but we can definitely get all the money. River is a beautiful ace. They don't have ace king because we have kings. It's almost impossible. They could have ace-7, they could have ace-6, but like we have the best hand, and they just, it's so hard for them to fold an ace now, so I'm expecting the near double up here. And we bet 350 or something, enough to put them all in. They think for a very long time and they call. They show the trip aces. I don't know if it's ace queen or ace jack. I think it was ace queen. And we show them the bad news. Nice guy, but feels good to take down those chips, man. We are off to a great start. Oh, it feels good to have things go our way. Let's go. Add a 0 challenge. Come on. I think I have the coolest piece of poker software you've ever seen today. It is called Hybrid Poker. Brand new piece of poker learning software where you test your score against myself, against Daniel Negreanu, against Bill Perkins, and see how you score against the three of us, as well as other poker players as well. But Hybrid Poker learns about you, the player, which is, this is really cool. As Hybrid Poker gets to know you, it's going to tell you what to work on. There's a link to the IQ test down below. Try it for free. I think you'll like it. So try it out. Raised to 25 in seat 1. We're looking down at the king of hearts, queen of spades here. I think against friend of the stream, Michael. We make it 70 to go. I really don't like calling king queen in the cutoff here in a straddle pot with a bunch of sort of aggressive good players behind. I think we just want to take control of this and 3-bet right now. So we do. Make it 70. Try and get the pot heads up. The straddle pot folds back around to seat 1. Who makes it 180. Whoa! Holy smokes, the 4-bet is in. Now, this didn't really make a lot of sense to me, to be honest. I mean, it can make sense in theory, but based on what I thought about my opponent, I didn't think this was something that they were going to do, like depolarized, you know? I didn't think it was a move we were going to see with ace-king, for example, right? I thought that it would be something where they'd make the sizing bigger because they didn't want to let me see a flop for cheap, or they would just jam that sort of hand, right? Or they would flat. So I would have expected like a 230 with ace king or an all-in or a call. So when I see it 170, it's giving me like messing around alarm bells. Now it could just be aces, right? Like it's possible this is just like a really strong hand with aces. But I think I need to peel one off in position for such a good price. It's 180, we made it 70. It's 110 is all that I have to call here to win a pretty big pot in position. So we end up calling. And the flop comes down, ace, queen, 10. Not the greatest flop for a hand. It's okay. We have a pair of queens. We're going to be total airball bluffs here. But we see a bet of 65. This is into a pot of nearly 400, about 350. We must continue. I mean, we have a gutter. We almost have the right price on the pure gutter here. So I think the answer is very clear in the flop. We call. The interesting part about this hand is actually on the turn. The turn is a 3, and it checks to us. What do we want to do with our king queen? What would theory have us do here? Maybe bluff. I think theory would have us bluff pocket jacks for sure, right? When we have jacks, jacks are the hands we want to bluff. We want to try and bluff weak aces and queen X. King queen is a little bit closer, but what are our chances of winning at showdown? Not super high. It's not impossible, but it's not super high. Here's the thing though. Can we get our opponent to fold? We have to think about what their 4-betting range is pre-flop. And I just don't think much of their 4-betting range doesn't have an ace. I don't think I can get an ace to fold very reliably. If they decided to 4-bet with an ace X, I think they're probably going to call down with an ace X at this point. So I decided to not bluff, recognizing that in theory, we're probably going to be bluffing sometimes with this hand. I do think about it a little bit, but I just don't think we're against the right opponent in the right situation to be bluffing. It goes check, check. River's a 9. I think if we're going to bluff, we want to bluff on the turn, not on the river anyways. I don't think a river bluff really deserves a lot of consideration. We have some showdown value now. Closing the action. They have the set of 10s, trying to set the trap. I'm super glad I didn't try and bluff there. And we lose a small pot. We look down at pocket 3s. We're going to raise it up to 15 in relatively early position. Under the gun +1. We're starting with about 1560 in this hand, so our stack is looking nice. Only in for 800. We're up a buy-in. We get a call on the button. Seat 7. And a call in the big blind. So we're going to go 3 ways to the flop. 45-ish in the middle. 47. Flop is king 6-3. Beautiful, beautiful flop. We're going to bet 30 on the flop here. Make that 35, I think. And we get a call. Okay. So about 110 in the middle-ish. Turn is a beautiful king. When they have a king, we're going to get huge amounts of money from them here, right? We're probably going to fold out most of their ace highs on the turn anyways, but middling pairs are really going to struggle to fold on this turn. So we love this turn, making the full house. We decide to go for a check raise here. They bet 50. I mean, this is interesting that I decided to check here because we're putting a lot of faith in their ability to bluff in this spot. We want them to turn their ace highs into bluff so I can capture that bluff value for 50 bucks. I expect them to bet with kings, but where we're going to lose some money is against sevens, against eights, against nines here that are going to check, and against fives and fours. But I am getting more money against a king by being able to check raise, and I'm hopefully getting a bluff from ace x. So I see the logic in it. I can go either way. Curious what you guys think about that. Would you like the check raise, thinking about their range, or would you just bet? It works out this time because we do check raise to 225 or 250, something like that. I can't see exactly what it is, but looks like 175 actually. 175 is the sizing because I think they just threw out 100 there. It's either 250 or 175. Anyways, on the river, we bet 460. We bet 460. Very big bet here on the river. On the 10, our opponent finds the call, and we show the full house. We don't get to see their hand. They muck. King, queen. I think they said, I remember them taking this hand. They said something like, you probably got ace, king, or something like that. And they thought for a really long time, which to me means they had king, queen in this hand. And muck their hand. So, incredible hand. Drum roll, please. Plus 1425 on the session. Let's go. So nice to get a winning session in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Obviously, the hands were kind of brief, right? It was kind of a fast episode. And that's because we hit hands and we held. You know, we didn't face any rivers where, like, the backdoor flush completed and we got to decide whether to call or not with our set. You know, or we get check raise on the river with the second nuts or something. Like, it just worked out. Everything was great today. So, such a huge confidence boost. 1425 positive on the session, which takes us up to, I think, about like 4,500. Moving in the right direction. And stay tuned. So, thanks so much for watching episode 17. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments wherever you're watching this. And that's it for today. Till next time, we'll see you later. Goodbye.